you guys just, feel like Aqua, just pondering what you should do, after Darling in the Franxx, and what do I watch? What do I do? I don't know what I should watch after Darling in the Franxx. Should I listen to everyone that always recommends Eve, Gurren Lagann, and Eureka 7? Well, let me tell you. I'm here to help you. But don't worry. You don't have to watch those mainstream animes that aren't really actually good. Allow me to do the correct list of what to watch after Darling in the Franxx, and don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to watch Eve, Gurren Lagann, or Eureka 7 because, truthfully told, those are not even the best mecha animes or the ones that made a big difference. I mean, we can go down to Robotech if we want to, and Gundam, but, I know about mecha anime. I don't know about some people, but apparently they only think, Gurren Lagann and Eve are the only things that really have done anything, but that's another video for another day. So let's kick this all off with all my suggestions that I worked really hard for you guys. Austin, I need more mecha-focused animes. I really do. Mecha is amazing. Just give me mecha animes. Please. Well, don't worry. I got a couple for you. And these are going to be more focused on mecha. The first one's heavily focused on mechs, and the other ones are kind of like mechs, but they're the new age of mechs, I'm going to call them. And they kind of have their own uniqueness in my eyes, but they're good, but it doesn't always focus on mechs, just like Darling in the Franxx, besides the first one. But let's kick off the first one. Knights and Magic, and you're wondering, what is this about? Well, this is kind of an another world anime, but with mechs, and it's quite interesting. I didn't think I'd like it, but I found myself watching every single episode, and who's the main character? Ernesty. He looks like a girl, everyone thinks he's a girl, but he's actually not, and the whole backstory is, before he died, he was a big mecha fan, and he loved building his models, so one day, he gets transported into another, world, where they kind of have mechs, but they aren't up to date to what he likes, and he kind of is like, he came to that world with his knowledge, and he's super smart, and honestly, it's a very good, relaxed anime in my eyes, and that's if you want, like, a really mecha-focused anime. He actually builds mechas, like, he shows what he uses and everything, and it's quite interesting because there's a lot of engineering techniques that I like that are in there. If you didn't know, I used to take engineering kind of stuff, but very interesting thing if you want to kind of learn how mechs are made and how some come to be, and if you basically kind of, if a realistic standpoint if mechas were to be made, but it's in another world fantasy thing, so take that with a grain of salt. But let's get on to the next one. 100. It's an honestly really good anime. It's a little serious, but has romance and it is a little fan servicey for the people that like the fan service in Darling in the Franxx, but honestly, it's pretty good, and the whole thing is the main character, Hayato, he has a very high 100 score, and let me explain what a 100 score is to you so you understand. It's basically the compatibility with your mech outfit, or the, 100, and this is, as I said, the new age of mechas. They're like the power suits, and I didn't think I'd like that kind of mecha anime, but I find them more interesting and fascinating. And if you didn't know, Darling in the Franxx was originally going to be like that, but they decided to go with big mechs, and I thought it was cool. And if you're wondering where this came from, it came from Robotech, that kind of style of mechs, if you ever go back and watch that. I know I keep suggesting Robotech, but if you want to get like the basis of what mecha anime is, there you go. But honestly, 100 I enjoyed. It was a very good anime. It has its romance. It does have its little harem moments, but it's not the annoying harem, because the guy kind of realizes it, but he doesn't want to do anything because he realizes he's going to get hurt in his eyes. But anyways, let's get on to the final one for this good old mecha category. Infinite Stratos. I know season 1 is not on Crunchyroll. It is, I think, second season is on Crunchyroll. I highly suggest this anime. It is a Sentai, I think, film, so if you want to really get it, all of it in dub, it is on High Dive, so there you go. I know the previous ones, I forgot to mention, Knights and Magic is on Funimation and Crunchyroll, and 100 is on both Crunchyroll and Funimation, but that's up to you. But going back to Infinite Stratos, I know Chibi actually loves this anime. I don't blame him because it's really good, and basically, Ichika, he is the only male mecha pilot, and it's the new age of mechas, not the full like big robot, but the bodysuit ones. And I know people get very turned off by that instantly, but give it a chance. You're gonna start to understand why they're really quite interesting, because it kind of relies on their own power. That's kind of how I see it. But Infinite Stratos, Ichika's the only male that is able to pilot actual like Stratos or the suit, and he's going to a school for the elite, and it's all in Japan. And basically, he kind of realizes he's the strongest one, but he doesn't quite know how to use it yet. And yes, he's very weak in the beginning. He's kind of like Issei, but he trains and he starts to get better, and the girls kind of help him out. And it's a very good romance kind of harem thing. I actually enjoyed it. It was a good laugh, and I know people, as I said, get turned off with harem, the whole genre, but it's actually well done, and I think a lot of you would enjoy it if you love Darling the Franxx. But this is it for the mecha category. We're going to go on to the next category. Austin, I need more romance and action in my life. Please tell me more. I need it. Well, don't you fret, my friends. I got 2 suggestions, and they're not mecha, but they're more the romance and action. I've left most of the mecha in the mecha category, but these are more focused on like romances that I find quite interesting. No, DxD isn't in this one because that is another good romance. And I could throw in like White Album 2 and Golden Time, but you need action. I know some people like the romance and action in Darling the Franxx, and don't worry, I got you. Here's my first little one. The Asterisk War. And I know people kind of try to bash on this anime. I get where they're coming from. It does get boring at points, but it's overall a really good anime. And yes, Stress Leia is in this. Not the mecha, but the girl has that power. And when I heard that, I'm like, Darling the Franxx, damn. But besides the point, that's not the main reason. But going to the Asterisk War, it's quite honestly really good. It's the main character goes to this school that's kind of for the elite, and he's trying to find where his sister is, and they can't find him. And obviously he's going for the school to win this competition to get this answer so he can find his sister. But you see her in the beginning, and it's a very good build-up, and he kind of starts falling in love with this girl that he gets in a fight with in the first day because, he jumps up to her room for the napkin she dropped out, and which was her grandmother's, and it was very dear to her, and she's a princess, and she tries to kill him. But, yeah, it was, honestly, that anime I love, and I can't highly suggest it anymore because it's a very comedic thing, and yes, there's a harem in it. Yes, the main character, Ayato, is kind of a dense guy, but it's the funny dense guy that kind of the girls make fun of for being dense, and I love it, and I highly suggest it. But going on to the next one. The Chivalry of a Failed Knight, and I honestly love this one. I know Nick in my Discord server loves this one too, but so basically it's another out-of-school kind of thing, and it's fantasy, yes, and kind of sci-fi in the mix, but the romance between Ikki and Stella, honestly, I really do love. And Ikki's kind of a dense guy, and he does it for a good reason. And I'm actually very proud that they kind of acknowledge the whole guy being dense. And it's not really a harem, but it is. It's like Sword Art Online. I hate comparing it to Sword Art Online because Sword Art Online is not a very good anime in my eyes. But going to the Failed Knight anime, it's very good because it does have another competition, and this guy is going to kind of try to redeem himself and try to become a knight for his family that's kind of forgotten him and given him no hope. But the main character, Ikki, is pretty cool because he has this technique that he steals other people's techniques, and this is how he kind of beats Stella in the beginning. And he's the lowest of the lowest. He's the rank F, and Stella's an S. And basically, it's another one of those he tries to redeem himself animes, and I don't know, I have a special place in my heart for that. I think it's because of Naruto. But anyways, these are kind of the romance action animes if you like those, but hey, it's up to you if you want to watch that. But anyways, going on to the next one. Now you're wondering, what would happen if Darling the Franxx went full ecchi just like its manga, but in anime form, and had its romance and action, and had its mecha kind of aspect? Well, I got just the anime for you. Hybrid Cross Heart. And I'm going to be 100%. If you do not like ecchi, do not touch this. Because you will be probably weirded out and disgusted. But I enjoy it because I don't let anything bother me most of the time. But honestly, they really took Zero Two's kind of backstory from Annie in this, and they did their own spin, which I like. But the difference between Zero Two and Annie is Zero Two actually got tortured. Annie was more of a test subject for this thing, but she already had her kind of mecha in her, and she needs her hybrid count to be up, which this is where the main character comes in. He's the only guy that can recharge these hybrid counts, and obviously only females can use the hybrid gear, and it's one of those kind of funny and really well done, and the story's pretty good, and especially for an ecchi. I know people like to bash on ecchi for not having a story, but this one actually has a decent story, and I love it. And most of the animes I've been talking about are on Funimation or Crunchyroll. This one I think is on Crunchyroll, and I know the Chivalry of the Failed Knight is not on Crunchyroll. It is a Sentai one, so high dive if you want to go watch that. But going back to Hybrid Cross Heart, it's a very good and well done mecha anime. It's a new age of mecha. It's not the big mecha, it's the mecha suits. And as I keep saying, it's kind of funny because Darling the Franxx was going to be kind of like that. And I'm kind of happy it didn't go that way because I don't know, I think it would be a different anime. I would love for them to try that instead next time and kind of fix the story, but that's besides the point. But now I know people love like the dark aspect of Darling the Franxx, and I do have a very, I wouldn't say dark, but it's kind of a dark but light kind of anime. It's quite interesting to think about, kind of thing. It kind of reminds me of BioShock with certain things, but let me show you this one, Black Bullet. And it is quite interesting because there's this big attack, and these giant like monster alien creatures are trying to destroy Earth, yada yada kind of thing. And I wouldn't call it a mecha because it isn't a mecha, it's an action. There is a little romance, but the twist at the end is just really good because you're just like, whoa, this got dark. And I'm going to tell you kind of the laydown. Basically, there's these promised children, they're mostly females, and everyone has forgotten them because they think they're contagious, kind of like the parasites were in Darling the Franxx. And these kids kind of don't really get anything unless they show up to the mainland, and they do get like taken away or killed, and they're treated really badly. And going to like Darling the Franxx, that kind of reminded me of how the parasites were treated by the people, even though they protected the people. But main character Rentaro is honestly really good, and he's kind of funny because he always fights with his partner, and he picks up more girls. And yes, they are little girls, but don't worry, they don't go to the lolicon thing. There is the occasional like lolicon joke, I'm calling the police, but the main guy usually doesn't really have a romantic like interest in. It's a very dark yet good anime. I love it. This is on Crunchyroll too, so if you do want to check that out, there you go. But this is it for the list of the animes I would recommend to you guys after Darling the Franxx. I could suggest more, but it would be basically stuff that's not really related to Darling the Franxx. But oh well. Hey, I made a better list. Okay, I made a really great list in my eyes. But honestly, check some of these animes out and start to kind of dive deep into certain things. Don't be afraid of like harem and ecchis, because I know people have the tendency, oh, ecchi is really bad, it's just pure fan service, and that's mocking key. And trust me, there's some ecchis that have really good stories, but we're not talking about the Test and the Sister New Devil, because it has a borderline good story, but just the fan service is a bit too much for me, in my eyes. But don't be afraid, as I said. But anyways, guys, this is Austin the Doctor signing out. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you until the next time. Peace.